Hi, welcome back. Today I'm here doing a talk with Chema Photo on his use of open source, his camera gear, and using Linux as a photographer.
Thank you so much, Shane, for this opportunity, and thank you all for listening. I'm Chema. I'm Chema Foto. I'm from Barcelona, so my English, as you may notice, is not perfect. I lived for a while in the US, in California. Actually, I studied at Berkeley, so I used to speak much better. But yeah, I will try my best. Sorry.
What do you do? I know you're a photographer over there. What do you do other than photography?
So, okay, let me introduce myself a bit. So, I'm a software engineer, and related to what you just said before about open source software, I've been an open source software developer since 2006, and I've been always like a hobbyist about photography. I love photography since I was a teenager, but I used to work in a store selling cameras. Sorry, the cameras they were in the computer section. So actually, I was a student for IT, but we had the webcams, and then they started popping up these new digital cameras, and they put them in the computer section. And then I felt in love immediately with the technology. They started selling cameras, and since then I was really a huge fan of cameras. But I started professionally with photography just 4 years ago. Well, a bit more, 4 years and 3 months maybe. But I have kept my other job. I currently run a company based in the US, by the way. So we develop open source software, and we make money by selling support for this software. And I make a living from my company and also from photography. I never intended to make a really good living about photography, but currently I could live only from photography. Luckily, I have not done it because of the times that we are living. The last 2 months here in Spain, we've been in a lockdown, and I was not able to work. So we just started working on the 4th of May, or to be legally working. Legally means that studios, they are open and you can go there to work. I know other photographers, they have done it in the sad ways, let's say. I have not done it, but I was 2 months without work, but luckily I have my other job, and I could work on that. And I started as professional, just starting like doing small gigs for friends, and they started mouth to mouth referrals, and I started charging for them. And in 2 months after I started, like I was making like a good sum of money, and then I decided that I should do things properly. For me, it was not that difficult because I'm a freelancer here in Spain, and in Spain, when you're a freelancer, you can have different not services, but when you become a freelancer, you can choose in which things you can work at legally. So I chose development, and then as a secondary, I chose photography. So you can also buy gear and put it as an expense or stuff like that, and you can charge properly. So that's a bit more or less how I started.
I know me, I shoot a lot of weddings and quinceañeras and high school seniors. Definitely got a lot of word of mouth with the same families. I've shot girls' quinceañeras and then their high school senior photos, and then one of them actually going to be shooting their wedding.
Nice.
So,
So we don't have quinceañeras here. It's not something
no.
really common. I know in the States it's a huge thing. Maybe I have seen few in Spain, but it's not something we celebrate or anything like that. Most of my customers, so I do fashion photo shoot. I've done some wedding. I've done a bit of everything because I mean, to know if you like something, I guess you need to try it. So I have tried many different fields, and you need to see which ones you love to do it. Especially in my case, since I have another job, I need to do something that I really like. I've done high fashion, like for real, like professional models, for that they are this perfect size that they work for agencies and stuff like that, which I didn't love. That's
Yeah.
truth to be told. I didn't enjoy it much. I've done weddings. I've done like, I mean, 5, 6 weddings, no more. It's something I don't enjoy much either. I have done like I was trying to focus also on photography. I've I've done a bit of everything. I have even done newborns. Um, but at the end, you know when you are doing the job, and after you deliver the job, you know in your guts if it's something that you really like it. And for me, in my case, what I like the most is to take someone that wants to have a really good memory, that wants to look good in pictures, that they are not models. So if you go to my Instagram, by the way, sorry for the publicity, it's Chema Photo. You can write it like that. It's mostly Spanish. Most of my followers are from Barcelona. But if you go there, you will see gorgeous girls and gorgeous guys. They are really normal people. Like
Yeah.
99% of them, they are not professionals. Like
Oh,
I
okay.
will say maybe 20 from 700 I have done, they are professionals. What I mean professionals is that they make the living only from photography or for modeling. So most of my customers, they are people that they just want to look good in pictures, that they want to, they are doing a lot of fitness and therefore they want to have a good memory about it, or they just want some pictures with a couple, or they want pictures for Instagram and stuff like that. And most of my customers, they are 23 and up because my services, they are not cheap, so
Mm-hmm.
young people normally they cannot afford it. So I found my passion. My passion is getting the best out of people. Shooting outdoors is what I like the most, and I don't enjoy much editing photography. Like I don't enjoy much preparing videos or editing videos. I like the photography to be really, really good on camera. Like for me, it
Yeah.
must be like almost finished. So for me, the product, I'm one of not many photographers, and I got a lot of haters because of this. I handle all the pictures to my clients, all of them. Of
I
course,
do the same thing.
that's been my choice from the beginning. Why? Because I'm quite proud of the job that I'm doing. Of course, when I'm going home, I review all of them. For that, I use the Digicam program or Hiki, one of the two. Later, we can go into my workflow if you want, and then I review all the pictures and those that they are maybe out of focus or they are exactly the same because they are duplicated. So most of the times, I use the duplicated pictures and I handle all of them. And then from those, they can choose some pictures which I will edit. But my edition is quite simple. I just edit levels, saturation, and not much more. Maybe, well, a bit of a skin improvement, like pimps removal or stuff like that. But I don't do much editing. I just make a bit more of contrast saturation. As you can see in my pictures, I like them to be really vivid, and I like backlight a lot, sunsets. So that's the kind of work that I do, and I've been specializing in the last 4 years, slowly moving towards something that is me, that is Chema Photo, that it's the way I work. And when someone hires me, they know exactly what they're gonna get because it's this kind of feel. Can be sexy picture, but never nasty, never
Yep.
sexual, never explicit. Can be implicit maybe. Always like a bit cheer. So it's joyful is
Hmm.
what the kind of photography that I try to do.
Yeah, I pretty much give my clients all the images too. Unless the camera misses focus, they usually don't get that one.
We are so obsessed about that.
Yep.
I'm the first one. I'm guilty as hell that we obsessed with clarity that I don't know how you say it in English. Sorry. When someone needs to be really sharp. So with
Yeah.
the sharpness of photography and the accuracy of the focus, we are extremely obsessed, and many
Yeah.
times we forget things that are much more important,
Yeah.
which is composition, colors, placing, posing of the model. Those things are way more important than if the focus instead of being exactly here is here.
Yeah.
Those things are crazy more important, and it's one of the things that I teach my students. So sorry, I forgot to say, I love to teach. I've been actually a teacher for software since I was 21 already. I've been always really, I don't hide anything. I don't have secrets. Explain everything the way I do it and the way I make it work. It's what I tell my students. Do not worry if you lost the focus for a few centimeters. Of course, the
Hmm.
eye is not gonna be super sharp. It's not gonna be, but you should not worry about that. Worry about
Yeah.
all the other things: proper lighting, proper posing, the composition, keeping the model happy, getting a happy customer. Those things are way more important than the sharpness or the
Yeah.
focus of the photography. So many times I'm reviewing these pictures and I see one picture that is out of focus, but I like the picture. I absolutely leave it. I leave it as it is. I will see later how do I fix it, but I leave the picture. I don't delete it.
Yeah.
Before I will delete them, and I will later regret it. because you're so fast checking them. You do 700 pictures and you're checking them, and you're like, it's out of focus outside. No, man, don't do that.
Yeah.
I've made that mistake many times myself, guilty as hell. I'm trying not to get into that now. Just
Yeah.
duplicated pictures, really out of focus. If, for example, the focus was there and I'm here, okay, that's bad. That's bad.
Yeah.
Depends what you want to do. I mean, I have I know
Yeah.
photographers that they do it on purpose. They lose the focus of the subject.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the way I do it.
Yeah. It's really hard to miss focus with these modern mirrorless cameras, though.
Crazy. I do crazy things now, Shane. I do
Yeah.
crazy things. I do things I would have never believed that I could be doing. For instance, there is two things. Okay, let's talk about gear.
Yep.
Let's talk about gear. Later, we'll talk about open source and stuff like that, whatever you want. So I use a Canon EOS R. I used to use before a Canon 5D Mark IV, which it's a really high-end camera also. But normally when people does a photography, they take a look always from the I don't know how you say the visor. No?
Yep.
So
The
you do like
viewfinder.
this,
Yep.
and you take the photography like this, and what you see is what comes through the lens. Now we have these electronic viewfinders that they are great, and it's perfect because then you see what you're gonna do. But with this camera, I got something that I will never believe that I would have done before, which is I almost never use this. I only use the screen. And it has given me some really, really good habits also. And things that before they were quite annoying, now they are not annoying. So, for instance, when you're pointing to the subject and you're like this, you're closing this eye to be able to
Yep.
see, correct? So you're losing what else is around the model, especially if
Yep.
you're working outside in the outdoors. Okay, so when I'm a really I do the shootings really I don't know how to explain it, but I move a lot. Let's say so I set up a scene, I worked at the scene, but I set up my camera, so I put the ISO that I want, the aperture, the speed, the whatever parameters I think are the best, or the flash or whatever, and I start from far and I start getting closer to the subject and I start changing, and that
Yep.
it has been proven to me to be much easier by checking the freaking screen, because I'm doing like this and I can be taking a look somewhere else because the camera is pointing all the time to the eye of the subject.
Yep.
So it's not missing focus, and I can be checking what else I see, changing the composition, changing the angles, and do things that I could never have done before, like taking a picture, doing like this
Yep.
without looking the screen
Yep.
and going straight to the eye. So when somebody comes to me and say, "Oh, you're this stupid guy that takes a look to the screen," I say, maybe the stupid one is you, because
Yep.
you have not realized how powerful is for your composition. I'm not doing this to be cool. I'm not doing this to. I'm doing because it's my job. It
Yep.
makes my job much easier. It focuses always, and I can get a lot more compositions without getting blinded. Of course, there is a sidekick, which is if you get a lot of light from the back, you may not see it from the screen.
Yep.
So I have the brightness quite high. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Also, what I love from this camera is that the screen calibration, the color calibration is really good. I have you cannot see it, but I have a BenQ camera, a BenQ screen, which is calibrated. So it's for it's to edit, and really I see differences, of course, but what you see here, it's really accurate to what you're gonna get in the computer. So I'm doing the photography, and I can show my customer directly in camera what's the result that they're gonna get, and that's payless. You cannot pay for that. To see the satisfaction of the customer in the face directly, like, wow, this looks really good. The colors, wow, I look really fine. And you can zoom to it, and they can see how sharp it is, how look good, the background, and that makes the photo shoots much more smooth. Like, it makes everything easier. Because normally when you start a photo shoot, the model is gonna be stiff. They're gonna be like, what the hell is gonna happen? How I'm gonna what I need to do. But as soon as you show them the first pictures and they sit in the good screen, and you tell them this is what you're gonna get, because I send them the GPGs, of course. I shoot in GPG and RAW always, and now I'm testing zero. We can talk about that later. And I shoot in GPG and RAW. Of course, I send them only GPGs because the RAWs normally they don't have no idea what to do with them.
Yeah.
But what the GPGs that they see, they are really close to what they saw in camera, and that makes them really happy. Also, what else? What else I have changed with my since I use the camera?
Hmm.
I think the two biggest things is using the screen and the focus system. I believe the
Yeah.
rest is pretty much the same because I had a really good camera already. I mean,
Yeah.
and of course, it's not the camera; it's the photographer. I absolutely
Yeah.
agree. But this makes my work much easier.
Yeah.
It
Makes
saves
it
it
easier.
saves me time, and time is money.
Yeah.
So at the end, I have my camera that I used to travel, which used to be a Canon M10, and of course the quality is not the same, but I got really great pictures with that camera too. If
Yeah.
you know how to compose, if you know how to use lighting, if you have a normal lens, what I mean a normal lens is any fixed lens is a 50 millimeters .18. Of
Hmm.
course, the chromatic aberration is horrible in this lens, but with a $100 lens and a $200 camera, you can do already really good work. It will miss more the focus. Maybe it's a slower shooting. You don't have this cool eye focus, but you
Yeah.
can do a really good job, and I warranty you.
Are there any limitations that you feel are there that come from using open source instead of using something like Adobe?
A lot. Well, not regarding using a software like Adobe. I believe there is more limitations about connectivity issues. So, for example, I mean, I've been using Linux since 2001 or 2002.
Hmm.
The problems they have been always more or less the same. It's just that, of course, it has been improving a lot, but it's a problem about drivers and the release of drivers for the Linux kernel. So many distributors of hardware makers, they make only driver available for Windows or for Mac. Well, for Mac, I don't think so either. Maybe USB pluggables, but not internal. Well, doesn't matter. So many still do not release the drivers in Linux. So depends what you buy. It may not work in Linux. So for example, now Canon is the worst example ever. So I'm gonna talk really bad about Canon. Basically, Canon, they're big assholes. Let's be honest with open source, like big assholes, big time. I love Canon about the quality of the products they deliver and the testing they do before delivering a product. So that's a big difference between Sony and Canon. Canon, when delivers a product, normally is finished and really well proven. And except with the EOS R that I needed to put some freeware to make the iFocus to work properly.
Yeah.
But normally they deliver a product that is really well done. And Sony seems that they are a bit more sloppy, let's say, no? But Canon has something really bad, which is the open source community that they have. And I'm not sure if it's a Japanese thought or old mindset, but they don't release any SDK or APIs to be able to connect things with their products. So, for example, the DPP, which is the digital photography to do to develop the raw files, the
Yeah.
official product from Canon. You cannot use it in Linux. You cannot use it even with Wine. I have tried. Wine is an emulator. Well, it's not an emulator, but it's like something to run. They will kill me if they hear this. Is to be able to run Windows applications on Linux natively, not an emulator. And with the Canon products, none of them works. I'm really into some GitHub products like I'm really participant or I'm in the discussions in pixel.us and talking about we had a lot of friends with the CR3 extension. That's the new raw system for Canon, and they have not released the specification of the file system. So they needed to back engineer it. So going from the original files, which actually they used mine because it was me who provided them, they needed to reverse engineer them to be able to get the specification. So now LibRaw can read LibRaw and
Yeah.
XIF version 2. They work with CR3, and those are working because I provided with the sample CR3 files.
Yeah.
They didn't have them. That was like 1 year ago.
Yeah.
So the limitations that I find, they are mostly because the hardware producers, they don't release the proper software for. I'm not asking to get compilations for each Linux system that there is, but at least to release the specifications. That's the minimum. And I think the cost of doing that is zero, and what they get from it is huge, like extremely huge. Even Microsoft has realized that in the last years, and they're
Mm-hmm.
working so tightly with open source, and they release almost everything in open source nowadays, except the operating system. But they're doing a ton of things, and investing in open source software. But Canon has not seen it yet. The day that Canon, with they have so many users using Canon and developers like me. The day that they release an SDK open source and the APIs and the specifications for the RF adapters and stuff like that, they're gonna see that so much software is working perfectly with their systems, that other companies, they are developing new products, and they will get more customers. I'm 100% sure of that, and you will
Yeah.
make them happy. I don't know how many customers they may have lost because they use Linux and they could not develop their raw files. It's so stupid what this has happened for so long, and what we had to do to get them. So since 2 months ago, thanks to ART, which is
Yeah.
ART, which is a clone of raw therapy, and it works really good. Before I needed to convert to DNG, and in DNG you didn't have the auto match curve of images, so you didn't have
Mm-hmm.
they didn't get the GPG, and from that get the curve, auto tone curve matching, how it's
Yeah.
called. So for
Automated tone
me
curve.
to develop a freaking raw was like a nightmare, was a nightmare. But that has taught me a really valuable lesson also. Honestly, I only need to develop raw files when I have messed up a lot. So if
Yeah.
I have the GPG and I have my shadows and I have my highlights in shape, like correctly exposed, I don't need to develop the raw file. But
Yeah.
because most of the times, because most of my customers, they're not professional customers, they're gonna upload it in Instagram. And if I need to go to exposure four steps or 5 steps, probably it's because I have done wrongly that photography. So
Mm-hmm.
sometimes, of course, I need to go to the raw to be able to bring those shadows up to the level that I want, or to get, especially the highlights. Many times I get too much highlights because I like really a lot of light in the pictures. So I had to work with the DNGs, and I needed to start from zero. And to make that DNG to look the same as the GPG, it will take me already 10 or 15 minutes to
Hmm.
make it look similar. So I
Yeah.
was wasting 15 minutes plus the normal editing. So always I was, that helped me and taught me to be even more careful by checking the zebras and by checking the highlights and on my camera, and being really careful of what I'm doing to be able to deliver the best product, which is photography, to my customers. And if I don't need to, and I got a lot of haters because of that also. If I don't need to develop a raw, I won't develop the raw
Yeah.
because it's a waste of time for my time. Of
Yeah.
course, when you work for brands, each brand has their own specifications and each brand has their own rules or their quality guides or stuff like that. I can tell you, I have worked for Wella, which is a hair for Bella. It's a hair brand. They have a lot of hairdressers, which is a really big company. And I did handle them, the GPGs and the raw files. They never told me they wanted the raw files or anything, and I did all the job to develop those raw and to make it look. And they never really even bothered to take a look. They just wanted the pictures to look properly. And I
Yeah.
was like, okay, why the hell I did all this job? They never cared. They never ever cared. And it's really nice because I see these pictures printed in big walls and stuff like that. But I could have done it from the GPG perfectly, and no
Yeah.
one, absolutely no one, will have noticed. No one, not even me, not even me. And that's again talking about the sharpness and the focus that we talked before. There's things that are way more important, and depends on the kind of photography you do. Of course, you may need to pull up those shadows and those highlights, because it may happen that the kind of photography, if you do a lot of night photography or you have a lot of contrast between the photographies, you may need to work the raw files because you do a heavy editing. But it's not the kind of work that I do. The kind of
Yeah.
work that I do, it's already good in camera. So I try to be really pragmatic about my work because my time is money. And if
Yeah.
I need to charge $160, which is 160 euros, is $180. So if I need to charge $180 for a photo shoot, I need to be really careful with my timing. So that's why for 1 year I've been developing raw files, but really, really selectively. Now I feel a lot more comfortable about it. Why?
Yeah.
Because now I have the art, and if I know one file, I can improve it more by using the raw. I will not even doubt it. Before, I will even sometimes change something in the picture to, I don't know, or crop it, or to, yeah, because it will take me so much more work to do.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest issues that I have found so far, working with Linux. Then also, of course, I work with a lot of open source software, but I pay for services for other things. And if a tool for me is useful, I don't have any issue to pay for it. So, for example,
Yeah.
I would like to have Luminar 4. I have tested it in Windows and looks really nice. And I
Yeah.
think for some things more automatic, and to give some effects on the skies and stuff like that, that it does it automatically. I think
Yeah.
I would love to have it in Linux, but it doesn't work in Linux, and I will
No.
pay for that happily. So I'm not. Many people think that I'm using open source software just because it's free. For me, paying in Spain is 12 euros, is $14. Paying $14 for the Adobe Cloud system, which includes Lightroom and Photoshop
Yep.
and something else, it won't be any problem. I spend a lot more money in other things. $14 is nothing for a professional, like absolutely nothing. But I chose to use open source software and to collaborate with this open source software. So as soon as I find a bug, I go to the proper repository and I report the bug with all the items. And if I know exactly how to fix it, I will report it. I have help to translate. I have help to do documentations, which I do in my blog post, like how to install this software to work better in Ubuntu, or how to keep it. I do these kind of things. Why? Because it's giving and getting. So I give a lot, but I get also a lot. And it works fast, it's secure, you can change anything. I mean, what else do you want? It's amazing.
Yeah.
Open source
Yep.
software runs the world. Without open source software, we won't be even
Yeah.
talking right now. So about the question, just as a quick, really quick, no, I don't miss Adobe at all. At all.
No.
Last time I used it was, I don't think I have ever used it professionally. I have used it more like testing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Not Never professionally, never. It's crazy. I mean, I don't think any other photographer I know have it's using this kind of workflow.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's some people making the transition, but not a lot of people have.
Well, it's the marketing. It's the marketing. So,
Yeah.
well, it's like using Mac. Now I'm getting a lot of haters today. So, Shane, probably you're gonna get a lot of dislikes in this video. Um, so it's marketing. So at the end, what you see in TV is what you want. So if you get a lot in TV, Mac advertisements like how beautiful is my iPad Pro, how beautiful is my Mac OS, and you get constantly bump up like with that in your brain, like da da da. So at the end, you end up buying what is mainstream.
Yeah.
And probably many times it's because it's easier, because there is a lot more documentation. Or But I can guarantee you, getting up and running with Ubuntu, which is what I use, and there's many other distros, you use Arch. Getting up and running with Ubuntu and installing GIMP and installing Digicam, which is the basics, I would say, you can have it in minutes. You will
Yeah.
get a lot more from your computer. You will save a lot of money by not renewing your computer to get a new computer, and you will be helping a lot of other people that are using the same software. And I also can tell you, you use GIMP to edit. Many times I make a search in YouTube and I use a Photoshop tutorial in GIMP.
Yep.
Of course, the menus may not be exactly in the same position, but I can follow the guides mostly the same. And actually, it's how I met you. I met you through your YouTube channel because
Yep.
you were talking about raw therapy, I believe, or Darktable was Darktable, no?
Yeah. I think it was Darktable.
Darktable, because I was using Darktable before. Now I use Art, which is raw therapy. But I learned to use Darktable thanks to you, and thanks to people that does YouTube videos such as you. So yeah, I love open source.
Yeah.
What can I say, man?
Yeah, no, I do too. I know under Windows I have Capture One Pro, but no matter what, I still prefer to be on Linux using the open source tools. And like
It
you,
feels good. It feels
yeah,
good.
yeah, yeah. And I even submitted some CR3 files to Darktable, hoping that they eventually add support for that.
They use it from
Raw
damn it.
speed, raw
Sorry,
speed, raw
Libro, no?
speed. No, Raw Therapy and Art use LibRaw.
Yeah.
Darktable uses what their raw file thing is called raw speed.
Yeah, but raw speed is using the same one. Yeah, because I contributed to raw speed. Actually, I got quite of hate also. There is a really big thread on GitHub that is mostly me talking and giving files from raw speed, and raw speed is getting it from Libro. So they're all
Oh,
collaborating
okay.
together, which is
Oh,
really
okay.
good, I believe. And raw therapy has improved a lot in the last year.
Yeah.
Also, we can talk about other software that I use, open source. I use Cadence Live. I don't know if you have tried to edit video. It has improved a lot. I was using OpenShot before, and now I use Cadence Live.
Yeah.
Amazing, super good,
Yeah.
super good.
Especially the new 20.04 release has gotten a lot of new features.
Yeah, you can do the transitions directly from the timeline.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but I'm having some issues when I compile or when I render the video. It's much slower now. So maybe I have some wrong configuration. But what is the usage? It doesn't crash, which before it happened, and
Yeah.
it's much easier to use.
Yeah. Yeah, it
So I
is.
can explain a bit if you want the normal workflow that I use.
Let's talk about your workflow under Linux.
So I use everything is open source, of course. And what I do, well, there's two ways to load the pictures into the computer, but I'm old school on that. So I just unplug and plug my card. I have really fast SD cards. I use 300 megabytes SD cards.
Mm-hmm.
Speed matters. So because when
Yep.
you finish a shooting with 15 gigabytes or 20 gigabytes of files, and I load them in my computer, and I put a name for the photo shoot, and I use normal file explorer, Nautilus, which is called, and I move the files there. Then normally what I do to preview the files, I preview the GPGs, and I use Geeky.
Yeah.
That's for the first look. And why I use Geeky? It's because it's super fast opening the GPGs. Like, it's the fastest program I have tried ever. It's really good. And to do like this and preview them with the information of
Mm-hmm.
the lens and the Zebra, how do you call it, the histogram.
Yep.
Yeah, it's really fast to do in Geeky. Really, it's super comfortable. I press the button, it loads extremely fast, and it's not a preview. I'm not sure what they do, but it's amazing. So from there is what I do is delete. Then later I open Digicam and I reorganize the files. I do some selection. I use it more to as a select tool, Digicam nowadays. Many times I use Geeky too, because they both, you can choose how do you store the ratings, and they're
Mm-hmm.
stored in the files. But Geeky, the interface is not really great when when you want to filter those files. The interface is not really beautiful. And then with
Mm.
Digicam, I can see it better. It's like with thumbs. So if Geeky was a bit better when handling a lot of files and the way they display, I will not be using Digicam.
Mm.
Why I use Digicam is because as a collection manager, I think it's the best one there is for Linux. And then I create a folder called selection, and there I drop the raw files and the GPG files. Yeah, and then from there, imagine that I select 10 pictures because it's the photo shoot, or the customer selects them. Sometimes depends. And then from there is when I decide which ones I'm gonna develop using art and which ones I'm not. Then I open art, and from art, uh, it depends. Of course, it depends on the customer and depends what I want to do. But now using art is much more comfortable. For example,
Yeah.
and imagine that I have a set of pictures, like I have 10 pictures from a sunset, and there is I do a lot of how do you call it? Uh, you put dark the body, and then
Oh,
it's
okay.
underexpose the body, and then there's it's
Silhouettes.
light down, and then imagine that there is 7 pictures in a row. I just edit one, and you apply. Of course, like you can do with raw therapy and Darktable, I do one, and then I apply it in all the other ones.
Yep.
So for that was really useful to use this kind of tools. And then I develop from there the pictures that I believe I need to do from the raw. And then I move them directly from art to GIMP. So you open it as a TIFF in, I believe it's a 16-bit, although
Yeah.
the Canon EOS R is 14-bit,
Yeah.
but it works with a 16-bit file, and then I export it as a GPG. Yeah. So I do in art. When I work in art, I do levels, maybe luminosity a bit, ambience, saturation, not much more, just really simple tweaks. So I get the best out of the raw file, and then I move it to GIMP, and in GIMP is when I do all the layers I need to create or whatever. I don't do much normally. I create layers another time for
Hmm.
exposure levels and normal tweaks for image, just to end finishing it. And then I do one for sharpness if I see that was a little bit out of focus. Well, the sharpness one, I leave it for the end. I do the pin removal, or I fix small stuff. I do it in a destructive way, by the way, that many
Yeah.
people is gonna hate me again, but I don't care. If I get, I'm not a photography editor. If somebody wants a photographer editor, they should hire someone else besides me. So I do the photography, and if they want a perfect edited skin or something like that, they should hire a professional photo editor, not me. And I say that really clearly to my customers. I'm not a professional photography editor, and I don't want to spend 5 hours editing a photography.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Yep.
So I just depends what imperfection they have. What I do is to lower a lot the opacity, so I only feel a bit with Barn and Dodge, or maybe with the how do you call it, the fix
Oh,
tool.
the healing tool.
The
Yeah.
healing tool works really good if you know how to use it, and you know to set correctly the stroke
Yep.
strength and the opacity. I put a really low opacity, maybe 5%, 7%, to fill out only those things I think they're a bit wrong, even sometimes for some shades. And mostly what I fix is pims, or if they have something in the lip or holes, or maybe a bit the shades in the eyes. So I don't
Yeah.
fix much more. Then maybe later I create a light layer to put a bit more of light in the eyes, just
Yeah.
to bump it a bit, because many times I work with the sun in the back of the model,
Hmm.
so maybe it's a bit dark this area, and Spanish models many times they have dark eyes like me, so to light them up just a little bit. And that's pretty much what I do for editing. It takes me 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Then you save the files, I upload them to the cloud, you deliver that link to the customer, end of the story. That's when the paid part starts, because I use Gmail with my paid domain name. I use Amazon Drive, which you need to pay also.
Hmm.
I have other cloud solutions with more storage, and all of those you need to pay them, and they're proprietary. Of course, we have really amazing cloud solutions for open source, but you need to pay for the storage. We have
Yeah.
Nextcloud, which I have also, and I use in a server that I have, but the storage is as expensive as paying Amazon Drive or as
Yeah.
paying Google or whatever. So you need to have your server plus the storage. So at the end, you're paying sometimes even more, and you need to manage that server. So at the end, it's cheaper to get it from a provider like Dropbox or stuff like that. They get the
Yeah.
best prices, and you don't need to worry about anything. But you could use Nextcloud, which is open source, in your own server, and then you have all the privacy and everything you need, and it's like a replacement for the Google Suite. You have Google Calendar, you
Yeah.
have chat. You could do even a video conference using Nextcloud, which is quite cool actually. We're using also
Yeah.
now a open source solution, which is Jitsi,
Yep.
and that's the workflow from since the moment I arrive home to the moment that I deliver the pictures to the customer.
All right. Do you have anything that you'd like to share, like on your desktop or anything like that?
So I'm a I'm a person that I love to take the best out of everything. So I'm
Hmm.
obsessed with, if you have like a $100 lens, you can do a lot of amazing things with this, like
Yep.
really a lot. And people many times don't believe it. So sometimes I upload a picture on Instagram. I say, okay, this was done with a 90 euros lens. Why?
Yeah.
Because I got I got many haters. I'm not sure what I do. I speak freely. I speak freely, and I
Yep.
speak about my thoughts. And I always, always, always respect the thoughts of everyone, although they don't do it. But I always respect everyone, and I believe if you have an idea, you have a foundation to get that idea, and I need to
Yep.
respect it. And I need to listen to you. But here it doesn't happen that often. So I have my way of thinking, which I have developed from the course of my life, and I change it quite a lot because I learn new things, and then I may learn from you new tools or whatever, and I may change the way I do it. But for me, it's my job, the photography, but it's also my hobby. And since I was really little, I've been obsessed with performance of stuff. Also as a developer, getting a really small server and making it work for thousands of customers at the same time and stuff like that. I've been obsessed with that, with performance of my code. And so for me to get a $100 lens and make really good, super sharp photography, it's something that I'm proud to show off, and I put it in my Instagram on purpose because many times I've been criticized because I got this, which is a freaking expensive thing.
Yeah, the RF lens.
So this is a Canon 85 millimeters 1.2, and
gosh.
I've been told sometimes like, oh, you do good pictures because you have a $3,000 lens or $2,800 lens. I was like, okay, whatever you want, man. I can borrow it to you. I want you to test it, and I want you to do the same job as I do. Probably you can do it. I'm not the best photographer ever. I have never claimed that.
Yeah.
But this is not the product. It's your mind.
Yeah.
What can deliver. So I wanted to share you this. I bought it just because I wanted to buy it. This is not gonna give me any new client. No. Do you believe any client at all is gonna say, "Oh, this guy have a 185 millimeters 1.2. He's gonna give me this amazing background"? No one freaking cares about that. No. They don't mind. They don't really mind at all. I've done hundreds of photo shoots, hundreds for big clients, small clients. I could have the Sigma 85 millimeters and deliver more or less the same job. Of course, this provides me some benefits. It's faster focusing. It's really good when you have a direct light pointing to the lens, can focus really good even with direct light. And it's fast, it's super sharp. Even shooting at 1.2, it's extremely sharp. And of course, you pay for it. Yeah. And also, then I'm a bit crazy, but I have also the 50 millimeters 1.2.
Yep.
So I have the 35 millimeters RF. They're all RF lenses. 35, 50, and 85 millimeters. I paid them all in 1 month of work. I mean, of course I make good money from photography, and I needed them. No. Let's be honest. No, it's just because I like it. I like it. Look how nice this sounds. So I didn't need it for my profession. I was a Sigma ambassador, let's say. I had the 35, the 50, 85, 105, and 135 millimeters from Sigma, all of them. And I had them for a few months, or even some of them for years. And they were really good lenses, except the 50 millimeters in the Canon that I bought it twice, and I had back focus and front focus issues. But the rest of the lenses, they were amazing, and they performed really good. And quality price is the best you can get. So if you're listening to me, Sigma quality price, I think is the best for the back you can get. If you don't mind about money, it's not my case. I'm not rich or anything like that. Trust me, I'm not rich. I live in the outside of the city because I cannot afford a house in the main city. But if you have enough money or you really love to test things, of course, these lenses, they are super nice. I mean, it's the best you can get. So you cannot buy any. It's the best 35 millimeters you can buy. There's not any other one better for DSLRs. Okay, I don't know about medium format, or I cannot tell. I have tried hundreds of cameras and hundreds of lenses because in my photo shoots, depends the clients. Well, the students they come, they have different gear from different. And I see the results because they send me the pictures and I review the pictures, and I was with them. They're doing the pictures, and I can judge a bit, and I have tested them. Of course, you get a judgment for a few minutes only, although there is some recurrence products like the Sony A7 III. I had used it for a lot of time. I actually bought it for 1 month, and I brought it back because I like it more Canon. I like it more the colors. I like more the way it worked, the menus. It was not getting like a heating machine. It was getting so hot, that camera. I was like, I was amazed, like, because I shoot a lot in summer, and I bought it in July of 2018. in the first photo shoot I was like, this is not normal. Something bad is gonna happen. Like it was really extremely hot, the camera, and I had the Canon 5D next to me, and you touch the quality of the product, the final product. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
it's really different what Sony provides, what that Canon provides. But back then, Sony was much better in the EI system, in technology was way better, the stabilization in body.
Yeah.
So Canon was really late on all those things,
Yeah.
and that's related to what I told you previously. Like Sony don't care, and they release products, and
Yeah.
Canon is like more careful. So yeah, I wanted to show you this, but I want you to be sure, and everyone that is listening, that you don't need this gear. Actually, many times I still go with the 50 millimeters 1.8, and I bring this because, as you can see, it's quite small,
Yep.
and I love lightness, and it provides really good quality pictures. I can even, if you give me 1 second, I'm gonna show you a picture done with 50 millimeters 1.8 and with a lens that is 50 years old or something like that. Because I did a video for my YouTube channel, if you want to see it, guys, where I tested really old lens in the Canon EOS R, so we could compare a bit against a more modern lens, which is
Yeah.
$100, and the results from both lenses was really good.
Yeah.
So we spend the money again because we want to. You can buy a cheap lens and
Yeah.
do really good results. At least there are good results for what I expect, of course. And
Yeah.
now I'm gonna show you the. I'm gonna share my screen. 1 second, please. Okay, there we go. So this is Gisela. Okay, this is a really beautiful model also. And I hope you can appreciate. This is a lens that is from 1970s, I believe. Okay, this is a really really old lens, guys. So,
Yeah.
and of course, maybe it's not that sharp. Here you have some chromatic aberration. This is an edited picture, eh?
Yeah.
um, and the colors are a bit more cold, which I normally like, really warm colors in my pictures. So this
Yeah.
was a bit colder, but you can see the quality is more than acceptable.
Yeah.
It's a lens that is 40 or 50 years old. I
Hmm.
mean, you may like the style or not, but
No, yeah, the images look really good actually.
this is a Canon EOS R with a 50 millimeters Takunar, I believe it is,
Oh, okay.
2.0. I can't remember now. Let me check it in the properties. I can't remember. It's a 2.0,
Hmm.
but it doesn't tell me which is the name of the lens. I believe it was a Takunar 2.0 50 millimeters.
Hmm.
But I can't remember. I'm really bad with these things. So these pictures are done with that lens.
Wow.
Look at this, man.
Yeah. And it was a fully manual lens. Did you have to
Yes,
manually focus?
absolutely
Yeah.
full. Like
Hmm.
even the aperture. So the aperture and the focal, the
Hmm.
focus, which, I mean, of course, is different and it takes you a bit more of time. And but yeah, I mean, I mean, you can get
Yeah.
really good work with a.
Yeah.
We are obsessed with buying super expensive lenses because we think people thinks that they can become me or any other photographer just by buying the same gear,
Mm-hmm.
and they're obsessed with that, and they are so wrong. They are so
Yeah.
wrong.
Yeah. If
So this,
you yeah, if you
again,
don't know what you're doing with the gear, you won't be able to get the same results.
again, light is everything. Light,
Yep.
composition. This all with the old lens. I mean,
Yeah.
okay, this is the Canon 50 millimeters 1.8.
Hmm.
So I'm gonna show you a really close up. Well, this is quite funny. I just kept that one. Uh, you can see it's a bit out of focus,
Yeah.
but I kept this picture. Why? Because it's funny, and we have like different pictures doing the same. So it's a bit out of focus, but I don't care. Look how beautiful is the bokeh. Of course, there is
Yeah.
some chromatic aberration here, but I don't care. The composition is good. The model is having fun. It's the moment I'm shooting really fast. I'm really close, so the focal distance is really small. The part that is
Yeah.
gonna be in shape, it's really really small. So it's normal that these lenses that are cheap, they miss to get a super focus. But then you can get something like this.
Yep.
This 95 euros lens. It's 100 euros lens. Come on.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, here, if you check in the light, in the sun, yeah. Well, it's not that much because I had the chromatic aberration fixed. So here in this area, I'm not sure if you see my pointer.
Yeah.
So here you see some objects and some weird colors. You can see it here too. But do you think she minds?
No, she probably doesn't even notice it.
Of course she doesn't. Look at this, man. Look at this.
Yep.
Of course, look the bad editing from my side. I'm terrible editing. Somebody will kill me, but I don't care. I like the composition. I like the look. I like the bouquet that from the lights that we have here. And this using a really cheap lens, guys.
Yeah.
This using a really cheap lens. So I can show you also some work done with the more expensive lenses, if you wish.
Yeah.
Let me, okay, from last Thursday, I'm gonna show you one. I'm gonna show you a couple of them. They are, some of them are edited, some they are not. This with the 50mm 1.2.
Oh,
Let me share. So I love the 50mm basically because it's super versatile.
Yeah.
So you can put it anywhere. But look at this.
Yeah.
It's shooting at 1.2 aperture.
And it's sharp. Yep.
It's fucking amazing. It's like, look.
Yeah, the RF lenses I'm finding are some of the sharpest lenses I've ever seen.
This is amazing, Shane. Look at this. Of course, this eye is out of focus. Yeah. But I don't care. I did it on purpose. I know it's going to be out of focus. I don't care. I don't care. Doesn't matter. Yeah, this is without editing, so we need to fix this. Yeah, look the. Oh, this is too much. I think I did 200 zoom. It's 100 zoom. So look, it's. I mean, you need to be happy with. You pay for it. You pay for it. You get this kind of. This is unedited also, so there is not any kind of editing. Here is a bit lost the focus. I can see. Just a bit. Maybe it's here.
Yeah, but it's still really sharp.
Yeah, of course. I mean, when I took this picture is not meant to be like this. This picture is meant to be like this.
Yep.
So you can see everything extremely sharp, the colors. This is without editing. So in editing, I could even improve it a bit. Look at this. Yeah. So this with the 50mm. And of course, it's better. But I won't get any customers. If I shot with the 51.8, I will get the same customers. Yep. So let me show you with the 85mm something that one of the last jobs or something like that. Yeah, just the one that I did. Yeah, this one I think I did everything with the 85. No, not everything. Well, doesn't matter. I'm gonna show you this because it's quite funny. 1 second. Sorry. Yeah, well, look, here we're going to be able to compare with the 35mm also. Let me. Oh, then what I did. I closed it. Sorry. I have closed it. Where is it now? Here. I have two screens. I'm getting a bit crazy now. Okay, here it is. Okay, sure. So this is the 35mm. I mean, the 35mm, I have it because to record video, it's really good.
Yeah.
Because it's stabilized. But I'm not a fan of shooting in 35mm. I use it only when I'm in really tight places. This is the 85mm.
Yeah.
This you can see the background how it melts.
Yep.
I mean, this pole here next to her. Well, also you can see the quality of the. This pole is like half meter from her or something like that. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's really close, or maybe 1 meter. Or less. Look, it's 1, 2, 3 steps. It's 20 centimeters each step. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. So yeah, it's like 60 centimeters from her, the pole. And look how of course it's shot at 1.2. Yeah. This is 1.2. And look the sharpness.
Yeah, it's super sharp.
You pay for it, of course. You pay
Yeah,
for
you
it.
do.
I mean, I'm not gonna. Yeah, and the chromatic aberration. There is no chromatic aberration. I would say. Look.
No, yeah, the RF lenses are insanely good quality lenses.
Yeah, you pay for it. You pay what you get what you pay for. So
Yeah.
this done with 85 millimeters. Look at this. Look the
Yep.
background. It's really nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
also use Godox for flash.
Mhm.
Not. I don't spend much money
Yeah,
in
that's what I
flash.
use is Godox.
I have the AD200 currently. So this is shot with the AD200 and with a backlight here. You can see it a bit to do
Oh,
a
okay.
rim light. So that's a cheap A660, A660. So it's a $70 flash. And the
Mhm.
AD200, I think I paid $300, something like that.
Yeah.
And that combined with a bit, this is using the lens, the Godox with
Hmm.
a big softbox. So I'm not a specialist on
Hmm.
flash photography, but
Yeah.
sometimes I need to use it, and I try to select in which scenarios to use it. And especially what I work a lot is in the integration, so the light gets really well integrated into
Yeah.
the photo, so you don't see that I'm using a flash. So
Yeah.
for me, it's really important that it keeps my style. So you can see that this picture, even that is using flash, it's been done by Chema Photo because
Yeah.
it gets the same tones like warm on the pictures. I like it to be warm.
Mhm.
You don't see normally hard lights normally, and it gets this look that is natural. So I don't like. I like to keep the ambient and the model,
Mhm.
the exposure similar, and that's the way I use Flash currently.
Yeah.
I'm getting into a professional using Flash. Let's be honest. I've been learning the last year a lot. I've been using it for many years, but the last year is when I started really getting to do it better. Because in some cases I saw I was not able to solve some situations, so I did some courses, and yeah, and practice is the way
Yeah.
to get it done. And knowledge is invaluable. So that's
Yeah.
everything I wanted to show you, man. I have shown you my gear. I have shown you
Yep.
some pictures. We have talked about open source software,
Yep.
about my haters.
Yeah.
Probably, if people is listening to me, I mean, in my channel. I'm sorry, Shane, if you give me the chance to do a bit of promotion for my channel.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
So do not follow me if you don't speak Spanish. I mean, I speak really fast English and really bad. In Spanish, I speak good, but I speak even faster. So if you are up for a really fast talk, really honest talk, just please join into my channel. I do things that other photographers don't do.
Yeah.
I don't do mainstream stuff. I have some mainstream stuff because I talk sometimes about the EOS R, which that's mainstream, and then I get followers because I talk about the EOS R. Then I talk a lot about how to run your photography business. I do making ofs and things that maybe they are not as popular. And I talk shit about things that I don't like, and I give always a good point of view. I never say this is bad and that's all. I always argument everything I speak about, and I change my mind
Yeah.
a lot. I'm a person that I like to keep educated and learning from everyone, and I'm I'm really happy to say that what I did before was wrong, and now I do it in another way. And sometimes I I change, and then I change back, and doesn't matter. It's the way of learning, it's the path and the curve of learning. And I love to learn from other photographers. Although I'm a photographer, I do this professionally, and I teach other students. I go to photo shoots with other photographers. I go to workshops, and it's something that many photographers don't do
Yeah.
because we have this big ego. We are the best. We cannot accept that we are getting taught by other people. This doesn't go with me. For me, learning is the way of achieving the best out of you. And I may go to a workshop with another photographer and learn things that I will never use, probably, but I have that knowledge.
Yeah.
And I may use that knowledge in another way and do a remix to adapt it to my needs. And I think that's the beauty of what I do and the way I work. So if you are up for this kind of chats and
Yeah.
this, I do videos like this, talking directly to the camera, not much cuts, really not super professional, just with a bit better background. So I think Shane is trying to listen to them in Spanish.
Well,
Can you follow them or?
Google has a good auto translate closed captioning, so
Oof, oof, tough, eh? Tough. I have sometimes tried to see what he was saying, and I'm like, oh my god, it's because some slang words they are like out of context. They can misinterpret like
yeah,
so
yeah,
much.
it does get a little bit of things wrong for sure.
So yeah, in Spain we have really great YouTube channels. Like we have a couple or three of them that they are good educators or ambassadors or
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how you say it. There is a word in Spanish that is when they bring information. Uh, I don't get the word now in Spanish, neither in English. So, the divulgators we call it in Spanish. So
Oh, okay. Huh.
divulgators, doesn't matter. That's what we say in Spanish. I have translated it wrongly, of course. So we have some good ones, like a couple or three that are really good in Spain. But
Mm-hmm.
here in Spain, what they are really successful, they are this kind of photographers that they are mainstream, not because what they know, only more because of the things they do or the things people because they hang out with other famous people. You know what I mean?
Oh,
So
okay.
they only saw themselves shooting. They never explain anything, or
Hmm.
um, they're just this normally these teenager guys that, and they get a lot of followers and a lot of likes.
Yep.
Uh, but the divulgative content, like teaching content and stuff like that, there is not really great content out there in Spain. In the States, you have amazing teachers. Like you have the best content, I believe. Really, it's difficult to match it, and the productions you do in YouTube compared to the ones that we do here, we are freaking amateurs. Like, wow! But
Yeah.
it goes with the culture.
Yeah.
You go always big, like full in, full vested. You know, it's and we are not. Especially me, for example, I'm a really pragmatic person, as I have said multiple times. I have improved a lot the productions of my videos, but I don't see myself spending a lot of money to produce these videos and
Yeah.
a lot of time because I don't enjoy it that much. I do this as a hobby also.
Yeah.
So all the YouTube work I do is 100% as a hobby. I get almost nothing out of it. I
Yeah.
mean, and you too, I guess. How much
Yeah.
have you earned?
It's
Okay, Shane,
not very
come on. I'm
much.
gonna interview you now. So Shane, how much have you earned from YouTube?
uh Overall, since the channel's been monetized, maybe $400.
I think I have made $90.
But that's
Hey,
over like two
congratulations because your
years.
content it's really good quality, and I think the information that you're providing is helping a lot of people. So thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me here. And I know I've been talking a lot. It's normally what I do.
Oh, no, it's good. Yeah. Thank you
Take
for
care.
joining
Take
me.
care.
Thank you. You take care too.
Bye.
Bye bye.